Were you good? What are you doing? You're doing
I,
Sudoku?
yeah, I played a Sudoku game while I was waiting for peeps to show up.
Did peeps
But
show up? Oh, I guess there are people watching. Yeah,
yeah, 19 people watching,
I
but
see
so
that.
far only Let It Be has said anything. So maybe they're on other platforms. Maybe they're watching from Facebook or something like that.
That could very well be indeed. Yes, right. Good, good. Yeah. Or other platforms also, right? You're on what? You're on Peris? No, Periscope's gone. You're on what? You're on Facebook and
Facebook, I guess Twitter Live, I think it or
Twitter.
whatever it's called, and
Me too.
um,
I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram too. I just
Instagram,
hooked up Instagram. Yeah.
right? Yeah, Instagram and YouTube.
You
Yeah,
okay? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but I get very few views on YouTube.
Man, I do same with me, and I don't know what it is. It's really hard. It's a very hard nut to crack. I mean, one thing I was thinking about the other day was that I very rarely go on and talk directly to my subscribers, or I don't talk directly enough maybe to friends and whatnot on Facebook either, right?
Ah,
I'm going to start doing that more. I was listening to a podcast on Clubhouse the other day. They
uh-huh.
were talking about, we perhaps should talk about this off camera, but they were talking about putting videos, not streaming the same video on all platforms.
Ah,
They say that's counterproductive because it's the same one on all platforms, right?
yeah,
So they
yeah,
were under the,
yeah.
they were under
Yeah,
the, yeah, they
the
were under
better
just,
the better alternative would be to do teasers, so you have content, in on one platform, and you tease for the content that you have on another platform to try and bring people over to that other platform also, right? So
yeah,
yeah, if they can
you
get it
could do,
either place, then why go? Yeah.
well, you could do that, but you could also edit it right before putting it on there. You can use the same one they were saying, but just edit it a bit, right?
Right.
Change the music, change the intro, right? Cut it down a little bit, what have you, right?
Yeah, polish it up is one thing, but
Mm-hmm.
also,
Polish it up.
add some more like kind of premium, so to speak, premium content that you can only
Mm-hmm.
get if you go to, because if they've already seen the whole thing, then, I mean, it's gonna look nicer, but they're not going to rewatch it.
Right.
Those that have already watched it on Haps are not going to go to YouTube to watch a more polished version. They say, I've already heard
Absolutely
this
not.
conversation, right? But if aside from polishing it up, you
But wait a
also
minute now.
add some more.
Unless, right, they might, unless, I mean, if they know that that version is like really polished and souped up, then they might do that. If you
Yeah,
add a lot or add an interview or what have you, add some different things, maybe they
right,
might.
exactly. That's my point.
Yeah.
Is that you need to add something. If it's just a polished up version, if you're only editing out the rough parts and adding some background music or whatever, or adding some graphics or something, to polish it up and make it look nice, that is not going to get people, I think, to listen to the same conversation again. But if you've added more information there, you've added some slides, or you've brought in some other material, or whatever you've done that that adds to it, then that's going to bring them over, I think.
Yeah.
What it would do, the polished, even just a polished version, what it would do would be to reduce the number of replays in a platform like Haps, and increase the number of people that choose then YouTube to watch the replays. If they couldn't watch it live, then rather than watch the rough cut live on Haps, they would watch the polished version, replay on YouTube. Yeah.
On YouTube. Yeah, indeed. That would be a good way too. Sure. Lehair does that a lot. Yeah. They
Does
have
what?
a lot of replays you
A lot of
watch. You
replays.
can watch. Yeah. I mean, I'm not able to join any of their live things. Either the timing is bad, or sometimes the quality is very bad. I can't hear much going on.
I've listened to a few, and I was actually invited to join in there was a discussion about Japanese anime.
Oh,
You had a bunch of people. I mean, a lot of the listeners are from India. A lot of the broadcasters there are from India and other places, but they had people from several different places that were talking about Japanese anime. And I wrote in the comment, "Yeah, I'm from the home of anime. I live in Japan, right?" And they're like, "Oh, come on up and talk to us." And I said, "No, I'm just listening," because it was like the first time I'd been on Leher, and plus I'm not a real big anime fan. I mean,
well, I was going to say you have to be kind of an anime fan to be able to talk about it a lot, right?
right.
Yeah. I'm not either, really.
Have you watched? Have you seen Ghost in the Shell?
No, I haven't. No.
Okay, yeah, that's one that I've watched a few episodes of. That's kind of interesting. There's a Ghost in the Shell. There's the anime movie Ghost in the Shell, which is, I think it's available on, for example, Netflix, but I think there's no English subtitles or no English language because it's a Japanese anime on the Japanese version of Netflix, and so they didn't bother. But the series, there's also the Ghost in the Shell series, which does have Japanese, or does have English dubbing or English subtitles.
Wow.
Yeah,
dubbing too, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And then, did you know? Have you seen the movie with Scarlett Johansson, Ghost in the Shell?
No, I haven't seen that one. No. Yeah.
That's worth a watch.
I know of it.
Yeah, that's worth a watch. Yeah, I mean,
okay.
Yeah. And if you watch that, you might be inspired to watch the series also.
Okay, great. Yeah, we'll do. How about this, Dan? How about do people promote, like, for example, other social media on HAPS? For example, promoting their YouTube channel or promoting this or that.
I don't hear that a lot. But I mean, but other platforms. I mean, I hear on YouTube, especially, I hear them talking about Nebula or something else. What's the other one that's connected to Nebula? Not Community, something. But yeah, so I don't think there's any rule against it. But a lot of people don't, because they're kind of emotionally invested in HAPS and are hoping that the platform will grow, and so they don't want to splinter the audience by promoting other platforms, I think.
Probably so. Right. That makes sense. Sure. Yes, indeed. So you, what time did you get on this morning?
I was late. I didn't get on until just before 10 o'clock. And so normally I get on a little bit earlier than that, but generally, about the time I got on is about the time people start showing up. But lately, I haven't had nearly the number of viewers, for the last 3 weeks, I would say, that I used to have. Yeah.
Maybe there's a peak there, right? There's an interest peak, right? Because sometimes that happens with something new, right? There's a new restaurant in town, people go to it, flood to it, it's new and unique, and then there's a taper off. Yeah.
Well, I think so again, I'm not going to name names other than to talk about Periscope, but there are when Periscope, it was known that Periscope was going the way of the dodo. A lot of people were looking for other platforms. And
I hope I don't go the way of the dodo.
So a lot of people were looking for other platforms, and it just so happens that HAPS was kind of coming, or looking for a rapid expansion of their beta testing of their platform at about the same time, and so a lot of people. HAPS had ticked a number of boxes of things that people were looking for in a broadcasting platform, a relatively low, low learning curve, and you can bring people up as guests, and you can do this, that, and the other thing. A lot of things that they wanted, and so there was a big push among the Periscope community to move over to HAPS. It was like they saw that as kind of the savior. But then, I felt like about a month or 6 weeks ago, it started. There was a lot of talk that, the things that especially people from Periscope were seeing that didn't quite fit with their image, or and choices that are making about their platform that large group of people. And like I said, I think most of them were identify as former that were kind of, they didn't see eye to eye with the way Haps was being developed. And so when another former Hapster started Heckle.
Oh, right? Really?
Yeah.
And that's a new platform?
Yeah. Oh, you don't know about Heckle?
No idea.
I thought I told you about Heckle. I can send you an invite. I thought I sent you an invite. I can send you an invite, but actually I think that maybe it's opened up now. It was until just about the time that I got onto it, it was invitation only. And about the time I got an invitation, I think they more or less opened it up. If there's a big surge of people, they may make it invitation only again, because the guys basically it's a married couple that are basically developing it, and they're doing it in their spare time. They both have full-time jobs and kids and so on.
Wow.
But
more power to them. Is that a video platform like Haps?
So it's similar to Haps, but it's still in the relatively early beta stage, right? Like I said, it just came out of invitation only, and it's a single, one programmer, or maybe husband wife. I'm not sure how much the wife programs, but the husband is the one who's online, most of the time, talking about it and so on. And it is only iOS, so you can do it on your iPad or your iPhone, but not your Mac or not your Android.
Okay.
It's a very simple interface, very streamlined and elegant, but some things that it does well. One, the picture quality and sound quality are probably superior. I would say definitely superior to that of Haps.
Okay. Yeah.
The connectivity is very, very good. The lag is almost non-existent. I mean, it's like, a fraction of a second, there's really no lag. There's really no lag. And that probably is an artifact of it being only on iOS, so he's reduced the number of variables and so on. But there are no replays. It's live only right now. He's planning on adding replays, but they're not in place yet. There's no on-camera guests. It's all one person doing a solo thing on camera, and people can type in their comments.
That might be. Oh, really? Okay, that might be good for like having taking a walk around. Yeah. And maybe showing somebody a tourist area, which I love to do, but Haps sometimes the quality is really bad on that.
Right. Yeah. So if that's what you want to do, so I mean, it's wonderful, even right the way it is before he starts adding more bells and whistles and refining things and so on. The way it is right now, it's great for people that want to give out, kind of a news broadcast type thing. This is what's happening now. You can see it right live, and introduce things and so on. Yeah, it's really good for that.
Yeah, I really love Haps, the platform window. You can move things around. You can share screens and whatnot. Yep. You can share another person. I do like that aspect a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing. This we couldn't really do in Heckle, right? Because it's only one voice, one camera, one screen, right? You can, of course, you can choose either camera, either the front facing or the rear facing camera on your iPhone. Also, you can zoom in and zoom out.
Oh, cool. Great.
Yeah.
Can you switch cameras, lenses
Yes, you can switch cameras during the broadcast. Great. Yep. You can switch back and forth and so on. Yeah.
That's a plus.
Yeah. So, it's what it does really, really well. But at this point, it's a relatively small subset of what a lot of other places are doing. But one thing that it does, like I said, the comments and so on, there's zero lag. But the other thing is the comments are color coded. right? So for example, every time I type in a comment, it will show up in, with a background of the same color. So for example, if I get a light blue one, and then from then on, in that broadcast, my comments will always be highlighted with light blue, and yours might be yellow, and somebody else's might be red, or somebody else's might be green, and something like that, So
That's really convenient. Yeah,
it's
totally.
very nice. Yeah, it definitely helps you keep track of the conversation streams and so on. Yeah.
Great. That's wonderful. Yeah. Well, thanks for that. If you could send me an invite, that would be great.
Yeah, I tell you, I think if you just download the app Heckle,
Okay.
Heckle.
All right.
Let's see.
I can definitely try that. I'm going to check it out right now, actually.
And I think Heckle Party, I think, is the
Heckle live streaming I have on the App Store.
Okay, that sounds good. And then I think Heckle Party, and I'm not sure about the capitalization. I'm not sure if it's all small letters or all capital letters, or if it doesn't matter. But try Heckle. When you open it up and ask you what your invitation code or whatever it is, try Heckle Party, and that.
Oh, really? Okay. I'll try that as the invitation code. Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Yeah, interesting. Good stuff.
Yeah. But right now, for me, Lehrer is really interesting.
Is it really? Okay. Well, that's interesting. Yeah. Sometimes I don't know. I can't find, like I said, I can't find a good one. I can't find and I've actually requested to be a member of several groups, and I got into a couple, and they don't seem to be broadcasting a lot.
Right. Yeah.
A couple haven't let me in yet. So.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's not, it's not as active as, because again, I think it's still, relatively new. I think the connectivity has less to do with the platform and more to do with the, probably the locations of the people that are trying to broadcast. They're in remote, they may be on, maybe not on Wi-Fi, but they're on their data plan or whatever, and they're getting spotty reception or something like that. Because I've had some people that have been, very crystal clear and a steady stream from them. But I haven't seen a lot of video on there. It's been mostly audio.
Okay. Yeah. Right. The one I saw was one person was on a video and the rest were audio.
Right. Yeah. So I like some of the choices that they made about how they do things and so on, and so that's what I like about it. But yeah, the amount of content and the availability of broadcasters and being able to, that's still limited. But I'm hoping that it'll grow. So I'm keeping my eye on that.
Great. I'll give it another chance. Yeah, I've been in Clubhouse lately too. Clubhouse is cool. I've been listening to a lot of stuff on there. Yeah. And it's good because you don't have to, be glued to the screen. You can just listen while you're doing other things. I do like that.
Yeah.
But that has its limitations also. Sure.
Yeah. Clubhouse is nice. Yeah. I found, but that's kind of the other, the other side of Lehrer, Clubhouse, even though it's relatively new, it's so popular. If there's a really interesting broadcast going on, there's no way you're going to be able to be interactive with it, because there are huge numbers of people that are listening and people wanting to raise their hand and comment or question or whatever, so that's what's kind of turned me off the Clubhouse, is that the broadcasts that are really interesting, I can't really feel interactive with. I might as well be listening to a podcast,
Yeah, I don't mind that though. Really, I don't mind just listening.
But then why not listen to a podcast? What's the appeal of Clubhouse over listening to a polished podcast?
I mean, well, it depends on what's coming up. Of course, it depends on what's being broadcast, right? I listened to a tutorial about Clubhouse the other day, which was interesting, and then some social media things last night. But yeah, I mean, sometimes there are those podcasts that come up, on my feed on the podcasts I listen to. It just so happens, sometimes they're on Clubhouse, right? But yeah, the one I was in last night, there were 457 people. Right. Just in the audience. Right.
And that's not a big one. I've seen, with 1.2K or something like that. I mean, just all kinds of people in there. And so it's like I said, I might as well be
the content on the one I was listening to was interesting, so I kept listening and I didn't mind.
Right. Yeah. But a careful search of podcasts will probably be able to get you a lot of the same information. I mean,
Sure.
I guess the best point about Clubhouse is the fact that it's so timely. I mean, something that happens, people can be talking about it right away, so you can get somebody's viewpoint on something that occurred, just like right then, and you can get on there and listen to people talk about it, get the reactions to it, get informed people's reaction to it right away. So that is nice, more than a podcast. Again, like YouTube videos that are polished, take time to be produced and put up there and so on. So but that's such a niche appeal that it just Clubhouse, I mean, it's interesting, but it just hasn't really turned my head yet.
Yeah, I guess people are interested in different things. People, want those different kinds of attributes, right? That each has, Yeah. Like for me, also, I love. Just quickly before we go on to the questions, I love, like meditation music and whatnot, and some ambient music. I can do that. Listen to that while I'm doing other things, also, right? Including writing. And that comes up there. I'm in a couple of clubs on Clubhouse, and those come up quite often, right? And they're really good. But you can also listen to that on YouTube, right? These kinds of things.
You can listen to that on YouTube. You can do that with iTunes. I mean, with the music app on your iPhone, right? You can get, you can choose to do a search for ambient, and put up a playlist.
Not that I want to pay for anything necessarily, so for me, free is good.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the Apple universe here, and so
sure.
I've bought into that, and my wife and I both listen to music and do this, that, and the other thing on Apple, and so it just made sense for us, But some other platforms. Are you familiar with Bigo? BIGO?
Yes, Bigo? I am familiar with that one. Yes.
Hate it. Absolutely hate it.
Do you? I haven't really investigated it too much, but if you say you hate it,
well, I mean, because
I'll take your word for it.
It's like all the worst parts of. So it's people begging for. I mean, people that are doing everything they can to get likes or tokens or whatever the things that they can receive on that, and you've got. Broadcast after broadcast of some girl shaking her booty in the camera and stuff like that to, and getting all kinds of guys to send her coins or whatever they send, and I mean, it's just a total,
really?
Yeah, I just hate it. I haven't found any really interesting content there. I mean, there probably is, but you've got to sort through so much chaff that, the grain is just few and far between there.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Caffeine.
I won't go further.
Caffeine.
I do know of that too. Yes.
Yeah, caffeine.
Good things about that.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of content put up by people of color. I don't know if that's a focus or whatever, but I find a lot of that. So it seems to be centered on European American culture. Not so much Asia, and I haven't found a lot of channels or broadcasts that really did it for me. Okay. And then Kumu, have you heard of Kumu?
Kumu, no, I haven't.
Kumu, Kumu, yeah. Right. Kumu is geared toward Filipinos, which is why I got into it. But it's kind of a Filipino style Bigo kind of thing.
Okay.
And so again, but there's a lot, since it's geared toward Filipinos, there's a lot more Filipino oriented content, and not there's not so much of the girls shaking their bodies in the thing there, but there's a lot of Filipino, Tagalog language content there and so on. But there's a lot of English content too, so that's kind of interesting. And then YouNow, you know that one? YouNow?
I have heard of YouNow. Yes. Yeah.
That one. Yeah, that one I haven't spent too long on. It's kind of similar to Haps, I think, in some ways. It seems to have a broader user base right now than Haps does, but I see a lot of similarities. I haven't really gotten into it too much.
Do they have a nice broadcast platform?
Yeah. When when you go live, you can. I think you can bring people up and so on. So, like I said, there's a lot of parallels to Haps. I think it's kind of interesting.
That might be one worth checking out for sure. Yes.
One I thought that you would like is Picarto TV.
Picarto TV.
Yeah.
I don't know that one. No. Wow. Okay. Picarto. Yeah.
Picarto TV. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that like music or?
I'm artist. So any kind of art,
right.
I mean, you get a lot of computer graphics artists, a lot of people that are drawing, pencil, pen and paper, pencil and paper, or watercolors or whatever. But you also have musicians on there too. So any type of artistic endeavor, those seem to be what they're focusing on. So I'm not very artistic, so I enjoy watching it, but I haven't tried to broadcast there at all.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, I'll give that one a shot too.
And then there's Leher. We talked about Fireside. Are you familiar with Fireside?
Fireside, I do know of. I was gonna check it out and haven't had a chance. Yeah. How about
that? Fireside. Yeah, I've signed up. I've checked it out, and it's. I think it's all audio.
That's what I thought too. From what
I think it's to me it's probably what the beginnings of Clubhouse was like. They don't have nearly I think it's kind of a Clubhouse alternative. And so the appeal to me is that you have a better chance of being interactive, so it's got the same kind of appeal that Clubhouse does, but it doesn't have, as yet, it doesn't have the big names that Clubhouse has, but like I said, the fact that it can be more interactive is a big appeal to me.
That's nice. Let me just ask you quickly about Cappuccino, because I've invited some people to Cappuccino with no real response. I was able to get your beans, by the way, before the next morning, so you can do that, I think.
Right. Yeah, you can choose to listen to them, but it says when you do that, do you really want to listen to them now? Don't you want to wait until tomorrow morning?
Right. I listened to yours the very day you sent them.
Okay.
And that came up, and I said, "Yeah, I want to listen now."
Yeah.
Why wait though? Too right. I couldn't figure that out.
Why wait? Just, it's like, well, it's because for two people, if it's private messages, which is basically what we're doing right now, for the only two people in the group, then there's not much of a point to it. I talked to Mike about it, and I suggested it for him because. Mike's son now is in Fukuoka, right? And so he can't meet with his son every day, and like he has been, and so on. And so he has his teaching schedule. His son has his school and his other extracurricular activities and so on. So scheduling a time when they can, when they can FaceTime or whatever, when they can talk on the phone is becoming more and more difficult. So with Cappuccino, his son, he got some good news right away. He can record a bean to his dad. He wants to call him, right? But this way he can record a bean, and his father then, anytime can get, the digest, get the all the beans that are collected over the day. And the same way with Mike, things that he wants to tell to his son, when he's thinking about him, he can record that little bean. And his son's in school, it doesn't matter. When he comes home from school, he can check that out. So that kind of usage is really good,
That kind of usage is good, sure. But there is a point to that, yes.
Yeah, but I don't really. It's not Clubhouse or something like that alternative.
No,
I don't see that. A better kind of thing. What happened to it? There's another one. Riffr, RIFFR.
Yeah, I have. I have. I just saw an ad about that recently. Yeah.
Okay.
Where was that? But yeah, that looked interesting, kind of.
I mean, that's kind of a audio version of Twitter. Or Twitter? No, yeah, kind of an audio version of Twitter. it's like people put up these short audio things, and you can put hashtags on them and so on. And hashtags can trend, and you can search for hashtags and so on. So here are these short audio clips about a certain topic or whatever, right? But it's but it's kind of this cloud of things that are that you search through it through these hashtag type of things, in the way that you search through Twitter tweets about some trending topic and so on, right? So it's kind of funky.
That's pretty cool. Okay, wow, you know so many, I'm telling you.
And then there's another one, Hakuna.
No, don't know that one.
Hakuna. It looks like it's geared toward young people, and I think mostly Japanese, or at least mostly Asian. I think Hakuna.
Yeah, sounds Asian or Hawaiian or
yeah, and so that's
Japanese.
It's more like the Bigo or Kumu type thing. But yeah, it's it might have some interest for some people. And then what else? There's I know a bunch of them. There's Green Room. Green Room. Green Room.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, I haven't really done much with Green Room yet. Yeah. Africa TV is kind of it's kind of an alternative to YouTube type of thing, Africa TV.
Okay.
And then Uplive. Uplive is another one that's kind of similar to Bigo or that type of thing.
Okay. Yeah.
And then
Well,
Stereo.
No. What's that like?
Stereo. That's another kind of Clubhouse alternative that doesn't have have the members that Clubhouse does. So again, so Stereo and Fire. What was that one? Fireside. Yeah, those, like I said, they're both similar to Clubhouse, but don't have the membership yet, and so it's a lot easier to become interactive with them. So it depends on what you're looking for.
Yep, really does.
Yeah, and then there. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's enough of that.
Cool. Yeah. Sounds good. I'll have a look at some of those. YouNow and Picarto TV. I might delve into more. Stereo too. Sure. Sounds great. Heckle too. Yeah.
Yeah. Heckle is interesting. The program, the developer, he's online usually once or twice a day just to say hi and kind of test things out and so on. And he, he's just a real laid back guy. He seems to be a real nice guy. Simon is his name. And he's an Aussie that has chosen to live in the UK now. So.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. That happened. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, great. Thank you for those. How about some questions, shall we? We don't have much audience. Maybe Abyss will join us here in a bit.
Yeah, maybe somebody will be here. All right. Well, yeah, we can take a look.
I just had about 5 minutes to glance at these questions. So
okay. All right.
So I might not be that well versed, but yeah.
That's all right. We're just laymen. It's just off the cuff kind of stuff anyway. So, all right. So what about
philosophy fits? Right. So
if
doing something good, Dozo, you can.
If
read,
doing something good for others makes us feel good, can there ever be such a thing as pure altruism?
Oh, right. Yeah. Pure altruism. I don't think there's any true altruism actually in humans, right? Because one motivation is for humans to, is to gain things for their own good, right? Basically, I think, right? Of course, it depends on how self-interested you are, or how interested you are in, self-motivation or ego-driven things. But I think most people are actually.
My personal belief is that all humans are 100% driven by their self, the self-serving motivations. Even the Mother Teresa's of the world, the choice to not go and help people was more off-putting, was worse than than making the choice to go and help people. I mean, it's like they couldn't live with themselves if they made the choice not to do that, right? So I mean, it's the kind of I describe it as the path of least resistance, and I don't mean simply by the external influences, but our internal motivations. Sure. I'm here in Japan because I followed the path of least resistance. In other words, there was good work here and this and that and the other thing, but also, my internal motivation for, what I was looking for in life at the time and so on and so on and so forth. So it was the easiest thing for me to do and that's how I ended up here.
But that was also kind of almost right in your fate, almost, as it were, right?
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. Exactly.
Right. So yeah, I think people go to that extent also, and we wind up in the same place anyway, right?
Yep.
Whether we don't think we will or not, I think we do.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, and I'm kind of the same way, right?
Yeah.
I chose the path of least resistance, but also it was decisions I made along the way that brought me here.
Yeah.
I think someone interested in the ego, right? Or I'm sorry, someone interested in non-ego things, which I think is hard to do, right? Would say that, yeah, altruism exists. But again, I think everyone has that touch of ego, right? I think it's impossible to squelch, right? Completely. So
yeah, I mean, even those people that are choosing to do something and they deliberately hide their actions from the public. They do things anonymously. They do things, and without seeking recognition. Seeking recognition. I mean, that's only one selfish motivation. I mean, like I said, the selfish motivation of quelling this uneasiness within me, if I don't do that, right? I mean, so. Yeah,
but and as you just said, that is actually self-motivation, isn't it?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. So that's why to me it's 100%. It's all self-serving.
All self-serving. Yeah. That's interesting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Right.
Okay.
What about that? But
what about this?
Okay,
one?
Good. All right.
What's your definition?
I think, definition of evil. Yeah. Well, if you wanted just a straight definition, unbelievable and abhorrent, right? Causing misery and, in others, right? Or abhorrent hatred towards others causing misery, right? I guess some people would say there is no evil.
That's me. Okay, there is no evil.
Right. There's no evil. Right. Okay. Yeah. That went through my mind too. What is evil? Is there really evil? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't believe in good or evil. I don't accept those concepts.
Can you expand on that, Dan? That's interesting.
Well, I mean, because everything is relativistic, right? So for example, the person that a person that chooses to exert pain and torture or whatever on another person, they do it for their own pleasure, right? And so it's a value judgment as to whether my own feelings are more important than someone else's, right? And so that person has done that. And who am I to say that they are right? Yeah, again, there is no right or wrong in an absolute sense. I mean, I would disagree with them. I would choose not to do that. I would encourage them not to do that, but I can't say, don't do that because it's wrong. Don't do that because it's evil. Don't do that because, I mean, I don't know why not to do that. To me, it's just like it doesn't even need an explanation. It's like, of course, you just
don't do
pain.
It, right?
You can't. You don't torment other people. That's just not the thing to do. I mean, I don't even know how to explain why I feel that way. It's just like, I had this, inherent empathy that, I wouldn't want that done to me. And so therefore I can't do it to somebody else. Right. So,
Sure.
But
so I think most people, realistically or, with rationale would go that route. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then there are people who, don't go that route. So how do you classify them? I mean, aren't they evil?
No.
Right. So
they behave in a way that I wish that they wouldn't, but, are they evil? I mean, yeah, I can't, was Hitler evil? I mean, there was a quote.
It's funny. Everybody goes to Hitler when we talk about this thing, don't we?
Right, of course.
Everybody says, I was just about to say Hitler too, right?
Right, yeah.
But I mean, everybody goes to Hitler, right?
Right, yeah. But he had reasoning behind that, and there was rationale behind that, right?
But do you think his rationale was maybe mentally deranged in a way, or?
Well, I mean, what is mentally deranged?
So, yeah, right. Well,
No, what is mentally deranged?
Off, right? Not
off, off from what?
We just said, not having that rationale to make him choose the other course.
Right, but that's not off. That's not that's different than me, right? That's different than me, because in order to say somebody's off or deranged implies a norm that they are away from, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't know that I don't believe in a norm either. There is no such thing as normal.
Well, I think you might be right about that in the sense that Hitler, right, got so many people to believe in him, right, back at that time, sure, and look how he so quickly marched up the ranks. Yeah.
I mean, he offered them a solution. I mean, it was an unrealistic. It was basically a lie. Okay, we've got problems here. We can solve the problems by carrying out this, genocide, right? And he got people to buy into that. I mean, because people were, to a certain extent, desperate for a solution, and so they bought into what he was selling.
Right. Indeed.
So there was rationale behind the deeds that he did, or the propaganda that he was spreading, and so on. Yeah.
So his actions were all predetermined. Do you think? I mean, he
predetermined
did what he did, knowing all the while he would do that from the beginning.
No, I don't think. No, predetermined doesn't mean that we know what we're going to do, but predetermined from the extent that predetermined.
What do you call it in legality when someone
premeditated?
Premeditated, right? That's what I mean. Premeditated. Was it all premeditated?
Not necessarily. I don't think so. I think that he was good at reading his audience, right? And so, he put forth, an idea, and that, the idea was, okay, this group of people are causing problems. We need to deal with them. And, and no matter how much he ratcheted up the severity of the treatment of that particular group, people were supporting that behavior. At least to the extent that he felt justified in doing that he felt, so he was, I think it was getting audience feedback, right? Yeah. He put forth an idea. Hey, he got a positive reaction to that. So he just ratcheted it up and to, the ultimate.
So would you say that he was instrumental in changing people's beliefs through him putting it out there?
I think that he was a type of a catalyst, right? I think that there were some feelings there, the frustrations and the feelings, the dissatisfaction with the way things were kind of a boil coming to a head, right? Or something. I don't know, but he was a catalyst, and allowed them to focus these negative feelings at a particular minority group, right?
Mhm,
And so that minority group, suffered the great consequences of that.
mhm. So you wouldn't call that evil? No, for me that would be evil. Yes.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna put, I guess if you're gonna put a label on it, but I mean, again, evil. I mean, I don't know. I just don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know what evil means. I mean,
Maybe it's the definition for you. Yeah,
I guess
yeah.
for me, the definition of evil is things that I really dislike and disagree with is evil. Right? I mean, for me, it's so subjective. And if we're going to talk about what is evil within a society, then it becomes, like, again, the majority rules type of thing. I mean, whatever the majority of people believe is an absolutely, wrong thing to do, and absolutely, then that becomes, and people still go ahead and do it. But that's just like an absolute no, and people go ahead and do it. Okay, no, that's evil, right?
That's evil. Okay, yeah.
But the person that's carrying out that act, I don't think they view themselves as doing evil, right?
Well, there are a lot of serial killers, right? Who have that very belief, right? They're not evil in their own mind, right? In their own eyes. So yeah.
I think it was a CSI or one of those type of shows where the guy, they caught the guy and he was being interviewed or whatever, and he said he's like a psychopath, right? And a serial killer or whatever, and they were asking him why he did it, and he's I don't know, I walk down the street and I see people and I just think I want to bash their heads in, right? I mean, that's just normal to me. I don't understand why everybody doesn't feel this way, right?
Yeah.
It's not like he's thinking, oh, I want to do some evil deed. It's just like, this is what I want to do, right? This is, it's like, I'm hungry, I want to eat. I see a guy, I want to bash his head in. It's just
I'm
like
hungry,
a natural.
I want to eat. Get out of my way.
Right. Right. So, and that is kind of stuck with me. It's like, yeah, they don't see themselves. I mean, in any, a war or any kind of conflict, people really don't see themselves as the bad guy, right? I mean, you have an argument with your wife, and you generally don't feel that you're the bad guy, either one of you on either side of the issue. It's not, it's like, hey, my thoughts are pretty clear on this. I think you should have done this, and your thoughts are pretty clear, and you thought just the opposite, right? So who's the bad guy? There is no such thing.
Who's the bad guy? Right. How about the people, these company executives, right, who purposely take their company down a path of no return, right? Like having a invested, like creating a Ponzi scheme, for example, putting all investors' money in their own pockets, all the while knowing what they're doing, right?
Right.
So don't they feel they're doing something bad?
They feel that they're doing something against the law. I'm sure they realize that they're breaking the law, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they feel that they really shouldn't be doing that on some kind of moral grounds. I mean, it's like, okay, these investors, I mean, if they're that stupid, or to believe me, then they deserve, they kind of justify it in their own minds. They actually see it that way. They're so easy to be taken in that they'll listen to me and give me their money, without knowing more about. Well, they deserve to be ripped off.
Well, there is that, isn't there? Right?
Yeah.
There is that. Yeah, if they're that stupid to invest with me,
they
then deserve to lose their money. God damn. Come on. People just want to, they want to make money. They want to be happy and have, good lives.
Right.
And
that's right. I want money. These people are too stupid to hang on to their own money, so I might as well take it from them, right?
I guess that's how they think. Yeah, that's true. So in that case, maybe they don't feel they're bad, right? And maybe, they do feel like I can get it back to them eventually, right?
No, I don't think so. They're not worried about that. It's just, I want more money. This guy is too stupid to hang on to his own money. If I don't take it, somebody else is going to. I mean, that this is the problem, I think, with the world now. I mean, one of the problems is all this, I mean, it's the extension of the grass is always greener phenomenon. I mean, people looking at, that guy's making all this money, with very little effort, therefore that's what I should be able to do also. Right.
Yeah. I think that there's an unhealthy, attitude or feeling towards money these days. Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And people,
you have it, so why can't I have it? So I'm going to take it or what have you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is unhealthy. Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very unhealthy. Me, I just, all I want is enough to live
absolutely
life, and
sure.
But for, a lot of people, the top, 1% of the top 1% of the top 1%, those people, it all becomes just numbers to them. How high on the list of the all-time richest people can I get? It becomes a numbers game. It's they might as well be playing some video game. That's the realities of the hardships that they are causing to other people in the world mean as much to them as when your character your character blows up somebody else in a video game. I mean, it really doesn't affect them. I don't think they don't see it that way. It's like, I'm real. I don't know if those guys are real or not. Screw them.
Yeah. I think there you go. There's something to
is that evil, right? I mean, again, we come back to my man, Descartes. I think, therefore I am. The only thing that I don't question in this world is that I exist. I am a consciousness that on some level exists, right? That's the only thing I know. And so right now, I want more money, right? And I don't know anything else, so all right. So, what the heck? Why not?
It's right. Yeah. Yeah, indeed. Gotcha. Right. It's almost like Pavlov's dogs, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm going. Right. Yeah. Whatever it takes. Yeah, exactly. Should we go on to the third question? Okay, here we go. Good. Do all people have equal value regardless of their actions, or is a person's value based on their actions? Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
I think we have to define what value means here.
Okay.
And
good idea.
To whom, right? To whom, right? Mm-hmm. To whom is that value important, right?
Mm-hmm.
To me, I guess this value means important to me, right?
Okay.
So in other words, what am I going to give or offer in order to get that person to give me something or show up in me, kind of, right?
Okay.
So again, it relates back to the individual, I think, right?
Yep.
I think what we all strive for is doing something to have it show up back in us or to get something ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So whatever we have to give or offer to have that person, reflect back to us, or for us to get something, or even for that person just being around us, give something to us, right?
Right. Okay. Yeah. All right. So my take on this is, okay, one answer I could give is that no, I'm the only person that has any value because I don't even know if the rest of the people in the world exist. Right. So
right.
I'm the only right. Like I said, going back to Descartes, the only thing that I know for sure is that there is at least one consciousness in the world. You, Jeff, could be just, a figment of my imagination or, some kind of electrical impulses, from whatever, but I know that I exist. So I'm the only one that has any value at all. Right. That's one possible answer. I don't actually believe that. I actually, even without evidence, I believe that other people exist. I question it sometimes, but I actually believe it. Right.
There are philosophers who do believe that is a belief, actually, right?
Yep.
Everything is a figment of our imagination, or right? We create everything ourselves, right?
That's right. Yeah. But so if I make the assumption that there are other people, other consciousness consciousnesses, whatever.
I think it's consciousnesses. Yeah.
In in the world, right? That other people actually do exist. That they're all not just these images or sparks in my mind going off here and so on. Then then people. The couple of answers. One is what you referred to is a person's value is only is only based on how they see themselves, right? Their own value, right? Society, an individual doesn't have the right to judge the value of any other individual, right? I mean, I don't see that at all, right? But people valuing themselves, I mean, obviously there are differences in how much people value themselves. Some people choose to end their own lives. They must not have thought that their life was as valuable as other people who do everything they can to, I mean, they put some value on continuing their existence, right? So they put some value on their life, right? That person who chooses to end their life has. So there are different people who value value their own value and so on, right?
Sure.
But now, if we step back as society's viewpoint, then yes, everybody's life is absolutely as valuable, right? They have absolutely equal value, which is zero.
Yeah.
Because again, if I look at it from analytical, completely, a cold, hard analytical viewpoint, without an external creator or entity that judges us, with the belief that we are the product of chemical reactions and physics and so on, then our existence really is more or less an accident, and it has no real value in the universe except to ourselves. And so, like I said, that's one thing. But looking at it from outside, there's no objective value to any person's life.
Yeah, I know that. I mean, inherently, I think you're right. And so we have to find that ourselves, right?
Exactly.
I think
Exactly.
that's the whole quest, right?
Wasn't it Camus who said, the only interesting question, in philosophy is whether to commit suicide?
Yeah.
Wasn't that Camus?
I think it was Camus, right? Yes.
Yeah. Which I kind of like that.
Keep going on, or just end it all here, right?
Right. Yeah. Should I even live? I mean, for me, it's not really my. I mean, because again, at this point, because I'm relatively healthy, I'm living a relatively comfortable life. To me, it's a no-brainer. I don't think about it. I wish to continue on, right? But I can imagine, and I think we've talked about this before. I mean, I haven't because they're so unusual in Japan. But I'm thinking I should write a living will. A DNR. I do not want to be resuscitated. I do not want to be any heroic actions, putting me on life support and so on.
Both of my parents were like that too. My dad was like that, and my mom has a living will with that in it. Yeah, sure.
Have you?
Yes, I have one. I don't have a DNR because my wife won't let me. So yeah, whatever she wants to do, then I tried to have that, and I also tried to have my organs donated, which I did have on my driver's license in America, right, or donate my organs, but she doesn't want that to happen either. So but you can do that in Japan now, but so I do have I have a will, but not DNR.
So you all here in Japan,
right?
it's on file.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. Yes.
I've always thought that I should have ever gotten around to it.
I think
So
it's good just in case, right? Just in
yeah,
case. I
yeah,
mean, it's good just so things are covered, right?
yeah,
Right.
yeah. I mean,
And yeah.
my wife is aware of my desires, and again, maybe it helps that she's also not Japanese, so she doesn't have some of the hangups that the Japanese do. So I mean,
Yeah.
I know that she supports my decisions about that and so on. So there's not going to be any conflict there.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could do it. I mean, you can. I mean, you don't even really have to file it. Just keep it.
Right. Right.
Just so you have it.
Right.
Basically, so
Yeah.
someone knows where it is. I think that's the
But it
most
needs to be
important thing.
notarized,
Yeah.
right? It needs to be
Well, yeah.
notarized.
Eventually, it does. That's right.
Right. Yeah.
That's right. So
Yeah.
I think it's just important to have. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Awesome questions today, Dan.
Yeah. It was fun.
Maybe it's a good time to finish up
I think
because I
so.
got to get ready to go to my next class. And it's in the classroom. We're face to face. Yeah.
Oh my
Back
goodness.
to in-person classes. Yeah. This week. Yeah. So it's good. It's good. It's great to have people in the classroom. It really is. Right. I
Yeah.
like that energy. I love the physical energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
It's a lot
I'm really
different than being
debating.
online.
I've done I put up a form on my team's my class team and asked them if they wanted to come back to the classroom or not,
Hmm.
because we're not doing any speaking at all. I mean, it's all, one class is reading and writing and the other one is research writing, and so
Hmm.
it's all really individual. I mean, if we were in the classroom, there wouldn't be a lot more interaction with me than there is online. In fact, I kind of like being online because I know that their attention, or I feel more strongly that their attention is focused on what I'm saying, because it's there, in their hand. They kind of can't get away from it. So
Sure. No, yeah, reading and writing, I think, those are okay online, definitely.
right, right,
Definitely, right. Yeah.
yeah,
And it makes sense that, especially if you're using a writing-based platform such as Manaba or
uh-huh,
what have you. Yeah, you can do that online. Fine,
yeah,
no problem, right?
yeah,
Yeah, it just so happens my classes today anyway are more speaking and listening oriented. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
which is a challenge because, students can't get so close, right? They do have plexiglass partitions up, which is good. So it's not like it was before the pandemic, but
Right,
I think for the students, right, it's important
yeah,
because they want to be around people and just have a little laugh and have that energy also. So I'm
mm,
doing it for them basically more than me, right?
yeah, yeah.
But it
Hey,
is good to have them.
all right. All right. I think
Yeah.
I'll end the broadcast, but
Yeah.
stick around for just a minute. Stick
Yeah.
around.
Okay. Sure. Definitely.
All right. So thanks,
Bye,
everyone.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
By the way, tomorrow, everybody, we're going to have a show at 4:30 Japan time, 4:30 p.m.